We're back again. We have another option, this time a little different variant. This is the Palmetto State AK-103S, obviously an AK-47 variant. It has the side folding stock as you see here. My understanding is that is strictly for storage. It's not really a functional item when you go to shoot the gun. I'm not going to go over a lot of the particulars. You already know. My experience when I first purchased the gun, when you would move the safety to the off position, so into the fire position, it would go straight down. Made a few wraps on the beater and it works just fine. That's the great thing about an AK. It comes with a plastic P-mag. Not terribly fond of the plastic magazines. Did not buy the AK that you see here because of the weight savings. It is a hammer. Speaking of hammer, it has a chrome lined hammer forged barrel. It's really the reason why I bought the gun. I got very close to purchasing an Arsenal variant. The reason why I chose the Palmetto State Armory, two main reasons. Number one, it's made in the United States. I get to support local manufacturing and people here on this side of the pond. This has a different twist rate, different than I've ever seen. This may be normal for AKs, I'm not real sure. It is put together, it seems to be very well. I did research watching a lot of Robski. I love that guy. And the Primary Arms 3X Prism scope seems to be very good. It has the BDC for this particular round. I've only fired it at the 50-yard line where you're supposed to zero this weapon. I also shot it at the 36-yard line, and I'm going to explain why in just a second. This mount, he seemed to like, was about the only one I could find in stock. Seems to be very well built, obviously made in the United States. There is no wiggle room. I will tell you this, after shooting this probably 30 to 40 rounds, my handle here became loose. No big deal. Screw in the bottom, fix that. But this became loose as well. I would have a good shot and then a flyer, a good shot and then a flyer, and it was just going back and forth. I don't know if you can see this very well, but this rivet here on the back, I think is the problem. That's the only part that's really scratched up because it's domed and it's not a flat rivet like I'm understanding they're made with overseas. So as you're trying to push this on, it becomes very difficult. You get it on and then it's loose. Well, you have to take it off to tighten it up here on the bottom to do it all over again. Anyway, I was pretty frustrated, but after some pushing and hammering with a mallet, an AK can take it. This thing seems to be rock solid now. It has a lot of different adjustments. I don't plan to shoot corrosive ammo. I may never even clean the rifle. You do have to pull this off in order to get the top plate off, of course, because it sits very, very low, as you can tell, to the gun. One last thing I added was the Vickers sling. This is made by Blue Force Gear. It has a Magpul attachment here, and I really like it. I'm a fan of Larry Vickers. I don't know him personally. He seems like a great patriot, and he obviously fought for this country, and I'm just glad that I was able to maybe support that in a little bit. All right. I had I had a good buddy of mine who is a reloader pull some bullets apart. I had him pull some of these 7.62 bullets apart. I've got 3 different rounds, and I'm going to go over that with you. You're going to see a little bit of footage here of him pulling it apart, us weighing out the powder and the bullets themselves, and I'll kind of explain why I thought that might be interesting. So here you go. Alright, hope you enjoyed that. Now, the reason why I shot the AK at 36 yards is because the whole very inaccurate AKs versus super accurate ARs and all of that jazz. Well, I have got a heavy contoured 1 1/8 twist AR barrel, 16 inch. I was shooting a very nice scope, a Bushnell Tactical Elite scope with a 2 MOA dot, and I wanted to show you some of the groups I got at 36 yards and then some that I got out of the AK at the same distance. I don't really want you to concentrate on where they landed necessarily. I'm just wanting to more or less concentrate on the groups themselves. So this group here of 5 shots was the 55 grain Tula with the gray case that you see. Moving down here is a 62 grain Silver Bear. That was their hollow point. This is the 62 grain green tip American made ammo here. This is the 55 grain Monarch in the lacquer case. This is the 55 grain, or known as the M193 Winchester. So obviously a very good group there. Some of these other groups, if the holes were bigger, you would think that's AK accuracy at 36 yards. So very close proximity. This is the last group that I shot. It was 75 grain PRVI boat tail. 75 grain PRVI boat tail hollow point ammunition. I know this is a 25 yard target, but I did shoot it at a 36 yard distance. Okay, so with the chrome line hammer forged barrel of the AK, I wanted to, let's just see what type of accuracy I can get out of it. I understand that the AK was never intended to punch really small holes, or make really small groups, I should say. With that being said, this is the 122 grain Red Army Standard. That grouping there, that 5 inch, you would think 5 inch, 5 shot group. And then this is the 124 grain hollow point Monarch. You can disregard all of that. This is the 123 grain Full Metal Jacket, the green lacquer case. It obviously liked these a little better. Now, when we pull the bullets apart, I'm going to show you a close-up of the actual bullets that we kept. But the Red Army Standard, the powder measured 24.58 grains. The bullet itself was 0.917 in length. length. The Monarch full metal jacket had 25.06 grains. The bullet was a little shorter at .914, 914 thousandths. The Monarch hollow point bullet, 124 grain, had 25.38 grains, and the bullet itself measured 888 thousandths, so a little shorter. All of these are steel core, but I want you to look at the bottom of these, every one of them, how different they are. And I'll try to hold them up here so the camera can get that. Each one of them a little different. I don't know why. All of the powder looked the same. I didn't look at any of them under a microscope. They all look like the same powder. Cases, primers, all of that look very, very similar. But it does seem like that I always thought if it came from Russia, it came out of the same place. Evidently not. Anyway, I feel like that the AK does exactly what it's intended to do. It is designed to shoot humans at yardages several hundred yards away. Most everyone that I've seen on the internet that's able to shoot that distance has no problem hitting silhouette type targets, IPSC targets, or whatever that they may be shooting at those distances. The AR obviously is very accurate, smaller, faster bullet, all of that jazz. I'm glad that someone finally now in the States is making a quality AK with quality parts that's just as good, in my opinion, as anything that comes across the pond. So thank you to Palmetto State and all of the men and women there working hard to punch out as many of these fine weapons as possible. Keep up the good work. And I hope you guys enjoy the video. I will try to follow up with this with some distance shooting beyond 50 yards. Have a great day.
Just start from Bulgarian.